Myself, Patare Nivrutti from our Abbadur Narayanrao Boroke College, Srirampur, District Ahmednagar, State Maharashtra, conducted by Raj Shikshan Sanstha. Today, we will learn 11 Science Physics, topic number 11, electric current through conductors. In this electric current through conductors, Ohm's law, physical origin of Ohm's law, limitations of Ohm's law, so we shall study one by one. We know conductors contains a large number of free electrons. When an electric current is applied across the conductors, the current flowing through the conductors and potential difference is produced across the two ends of the conductors. However, during this time, the physical state of the conductor remains constant, that is resistance. And now, Ohm's law stated that as long as the physical state of the conductor remains constant, the current flowing through the conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference across the two ends of the conductors. That is, I proportional V or V proportional I. So therefore, if you remove the proportional sign, then the constant is R into I, where R is constant are called resistance of the conductor. So we can write this resistance are equal V upon I. Now this is the mathematical formula of resistance equal V upon I. Now from the SI units of resistance, potential difference and currents, so we can write the 1 ohm, we know SI unit of resistance is ohm, so 1 ohm resistance of the conductor equal 1 volt, volt is a SI unit of potentials and I is the current, the SI unit of current is ampere, so 1 volt by 1 ampere, 1 ohm equal 1 volt by 1 ampere. So we can say that the potential difference of 1 volt, potential difference across the two ends of a conductor is 1 volt and it produces a current of 1 ampere flowing through it. Then the resistance of the conductor, we say that is 1 ohm. So 1 ohm equal 1 volt by 1 ampere. Now the reciprocal of resistance are called conductance. Reciprocal of resistance is called conductance. So conductance is equal to conductance, suppose denoted by letter C, is equal to 1 upon R. And we know the SI unit of resistance is ohm, so we can write it ohm inverse, or it is also called Siemens. So the SI unit of conductance, SI unit of conductance is ohm inverse or Siemens. The next point is physical origin of Ohm's law. We know the metals like copper metals contains a large number of electrons, and now due to this the electrons in a conductors are in random motions, that is in the normal temperatures the electrons are in random motions are called mobile charges in the volume of the conductors. Now it is assumed that these conduction electrons are free to move inside the volume of the conductors. Now during their random motions, the electrons collide with the iron cores within the conductor. Then it is assumed that the electrons do not collide with each others. But it is collide with the iron cores within the conductors. Now the random motions of these electrons use the average zero motions, that is average is 0. However, on the application of electric field, now this is the external cell, now this is the conductor, and now conductor contains this number of free electrons. By the application of the external field, the electrons are moved in the opposite direction to the direction of the electric field. Which means the positive charge is flowing, suppose from here A to B, and now in the opposite directions the electrons are moving. Now this is the electrons are moving in opposite directions of the applied external fields. So now this is the direction of electrons is in opposite to the direction of applied external fields. Yes. Now this is the directions of electrons. Now this is the direction of positive charges, means current flowing through the circuit. Thus there is a conventional direction of current is from A to B, and now the direction of electrons is from B to A. Now these motions of the electrons are called drift velocity under the application of external applied field. So external applied field here E. Now due to the applied external fields, the electrons are flowing in opposite direction to that of fields. Now the mass of electrons is m. Mass of electrons is m. Subjected, mass of electron m is subjected, and electric field E. So the force experienced by the electron will be force F equal E into vector E. where is electronic charge, vector is the electric field. So therefore F equal E into E. The acceleration experienced by the electron will be, so by the relations acceleration, vector A equal E into vector E upon mass. We know the relation of force is equal to mass into acceleration. So acceleration is equal to force divided by mass, and now force is the product of electronic charge and electric field vector E. So E upon m, we denote its equation number 1. Acceleration equation number 1. Let the average time between two successive collisions of the electrons thus as an average. Okay, so is the average time between two successive collisions of electrons. So the average electrons will acquire a drift speed or drift velocity Vd is equal to V suffix d, it is drift speed or drift velocity Vd is equal to. So according to the relations, acceleration is equal to velocity by average time. So velocity is equal to product of acceleration A and average time t. So now in a scalar forms, acceleration A and in time t. So therefore we can write drift velocity or drift speed equal Vd equal acceleration E vector E upon m into average time tau. So E vector E into tau upon m, and suppose this is equation number 2, another equation number 2. But we know the drift velocity V suffix d is equal to j upon n e, suppose equation number 3. So from equation 2 and 3, we get j upon ne equal vector E into tau upon m, or vector E equal, so we can write j here, take one sides vector m, so vector E equal m upon n e into e square tau into m, m into here j. So m upon n e square tau into j. Now here interchanging the terms only. And now this is equation number 4. Now the bracket terms m upon n e square tau denotes resistivity of the material. resistivity of the material. So rho equal resistivity of the material is m upon n e square into tau. Now the rho is also a constant, and now this constant rho is independent of electric field E. The next point, limitations of Ohm's law. Just to have seen, Ohm's law state that the I proportional V or V proportional I, and during this time the physical state of the conductor remains constant, that is resistance is constant. V increases, I also increases. If we decrease the V, I is also decreases, that is they are directly proportional. So if we plot the curve V against I against V, if we plot the curve I against V, it is a straight line. Now this curve is a straight lines for some devices are called linear devices. However, there are some devices for which the curve is non-linear, that is for non-ohmic devices the curve is just like it. So the Ohm's law does not follow for all devices. So Ohm's law is obeyed by various materials and devices. The device for which potential difference V versus current I is a straight line passing through origin, and now this is inclined to V axis, are called ohmic devices, and the curve passing through the origin is a straight line, are called linear devices. Thus the devices for which I V curve is not a straight line, they do not obey Ohm's law, and the resistance of these devices is a function of V or I. For example, liquid electrolytes, vacuum tubes, thermistors, etc. are non-ohmic devices for which the Ohm's law is not applicable. Now, resistance R for resistance capital R for such non-linear devices at a particular value of the potential difference V is given by resistance R equal limits delta V upon delta I tends to 0, then we can write it equal dV by di, where delta V is the potential difference between two values V minus delta V upon 2 and V plus delta V upon 2. Now these are the two values of potentials, and delta I is the corresponding change in the current. So there is a limitations of Ohm's law for non-ohmic conductors.